Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our monthly fellowship assembly for November. I think pretty much everyone here knows each other. Conrad would be the exception for those of you who weren't at the coffee chat. He is is interested in joining our club. There's Irene. I'll let her in. And we'll start off this morning with Kitty, who's going to introduce Neil.
Good morning. It's my pleasure to introduce Neil Rogers this morning. Neil's from the East Coast, for anyone who doesn't know that. He was born and raised in Yarmouth, Nova Scotia, and he's been involved in the Scouting movement, YMCA, and Canadian Forces Reserves. He holds a Bachelor of Commerce with a major in finance from St. Mary's University. And currently, he is a financial advisor with the Desjardins Independent Broker Network. Neil has been a Rotarian for many years, very simply because he believes in service above self. And he has graciously accepted appointment as the E-Club's Rotary Foundation Chair. So welcome, Neil. It's so lovely to know you as a member of the E-Club of Canada 1.
Well, thank you very much.
That's awesome.
November, well,
go ahead, Keith. Go ahead, Neil. I'll get your presentation ready here.
Yeah, so November is Rotary Month, and apparently I was voluntold to be the foundation chair. So you're going to have to put up with my presentation. Anyway, tell me when you started it.
I've got it up, and I'll just move it to the
slideshow. Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So a caveat here, this presentation was done by the foundation chair for District 7815, which is the one in Atlantic Canada. So I kind of borrowed it from her. She graciously allowed me to use it. So as Rotarians, we share a common resource that is the engine behind Rotary projects around the corner and around the world. Today, we hope that everyone will learn a little bit about the foundation and be inspired to participate in its programs and to give to its future. Okay, next slide, Tammy. Oh, Rotarians are people of action. We see an area of need. We tap into our connections and our expertise, and we work together to be part of the solution. And I like to think of the Rotary Foundation and a tool in your toolkit to help reach your goals. Next slide. Thank you. The Rotary Foundation is there for us in 3 ways. Leading the charge in the eradication of polio, promoting peace, administering grants conducted by Rotarians around the world. Next slide. And Rotary has been working to eradicate polio for more than 30 years. Our goal of ridding the world of this disease is closer than ever. As a founding partner of the Global Polio Eradication Initiative, we've reduced polio cases by 99.9% since our first project to vaccinate children in the Philippines in 1979. We've helped immunize more than 2.5 billion children in 122 countries. And so far, Rotary has contributed more than 1.8 billion toward eradicating the disease worldwide. Today, polio remains endemic only in Afghanistan and Pakistan, although there's been some new cases crop up in North America. But it's crucial to continue working to keep other countries polio-free. If all eradication efforts stop today, within 10 years, polio could paralyze more than 200,000 children each year. So I'm going to go, okay, so the Rotary Foundation challenges Rotarians to take 3 actions to make a world of difference. And it's polio Pacific, and one is learned. So get involved and help make polio the subject of conversation in our communities. Share. Most people have heard of polio, but few know that the disease still affects children around the world.
And you can help by spreading this word that it does. And donate. Every donation helps us obtain the support, transport, and materials needed in the fight against polio. Next slide, Henry. Rotary creates environment for peace. And as a humanitarian organization, peace is a cornerstone of our mission. And we believe when people work to create peace in their communities, that change can have a global effect. By carrying out service projects and supporting peace fellowships and scholarships, our members take action to address the underlying causes of conflict, including poverty, discrimination, ethnic tension, lack of access to education, and unequal distribution of resources. I'll go to the next slide. Every year, Rotary awards up to 130 fully funded fellowships, dedicated leaders from around the world to study at one of our peace centers. Now, our district itself does its best to put forward at least one student each year to apply for this highly valued fellowship. So let's spread the word about this scholarship to increase the numbers of peace fellows in our region. The program is fully funded by the Rotary Foundation. No club resources are required. We just need you to help us find the best candidates to put forward. Next slide. Rotary members contribute their skills and expertise and resources to help solve some of the world's toughest problems. From providing clean water to promoting peace worldwide, Rotary Foundation grants bring service project ideas to life. Next slide. I'd like to invite you to give an example of a project that you're aware of, either locally or internationally, that addresses one of these areas of focus. Does anyone have an example of a project?
We have several projects, especially
Okay.
supporting education.
Yeah, okay. And did you notice that there isn't an area on this slide focused on the environment or climate change? That's because this focus is intricately intertwined into each of the six. Although this past Rotary year, supporting the environment has its own dedicated area of focus. Next slide, Tammy. So Rotary clubs help fight COVID-19 pandemic. So this past year during the pandemic, the Rotary Foundation provided special support to meet the immediate needs of COVID-19. This is a special story of how your gifts to the Rotary Foundation have made an impact. And I'd like to take a moment and just to share a bit of that story. So we go to the next slide, Tammy. So the Rotary Foundation responds to COVID-19 in this way. $2 million directed into the disaster relief fund. Rapid mobilization moved this money to communities within days. An additional $1 million was added to the fund, and the Rotary Response Telethon raised a little over $500,000. And by June 30th of 2020, still 107 grants not funded, and that added another 2.6 million to the fund. So 335 global grants, 313 disaster response grants, 29 million to the Rotary Foundation went for COVID-19. Now, I just want to highlight that this represents only the funding that went through the Rotary Foundation. There have been millions of dollars given to COVID-19 response directly by clubs and Rotarians, and this impact is truly extraordinary. Could I have the next slide, Tammy? So this is, I'm new to the chair. This is what I found out about our past grants and our present grants. And, you know,
Hi there, it's Tammy. Were you just trying to reach me?
Nope, just hold on, Tammy. So yeah, that's good. We'll go to the next slide. So these COVID-19 grants are just one example of the power of the Rotary Foundation. To fully engage in either a district grant or a global grant, your next step is to become qualified. Plan your project and put it into action. So I think there's some upcoming qualification seminars offered by our district foundation team, and I'm looking into that. And there are also some changes to the Rotary Foundation's matching formula. So attending one of those seminars will bring us up to snuff on the Rotary Foundation matching formula. Next slide, Tammy. So at this time, I would like to invite you all to consider making our Rotary Foundation your charity of choice. Next slide. You can direct your gift to the Rotary Foundation in 4 ways. Share is the Rotary's area of greatest need. This is the envelope that comes back to the district in 3 years. If you're passionate about Rotary's, about one of Rotary's areas of focus, you can direct your gift directly to that area. For instance, polio. Your gift to the eradication of polio will make history very soon. And major gifts have a significant impact to a specific grant or one of the areas described above. Could I have the next slide? Okay. So recognizing your giving. So thank you from the Rotary Foundation. So how does the Rotary Foundation recognize its donors? Next slide, Tammy. Every Rotarian every year. Our world would be a better place if every Rotarian gave a donation of any size to the Rotary Foundation every year. Next slide, please. Sustaining member. So to be a sustaining member of the Rotary Foundation, your annual contribution of $100 $100 US will make you a sustaining member of the foundation. Next slide, please. A donation of $1,000 US will be recognized with a Paul Harris pin and certificate. And I think there's quite a number of our members are Paul Harris fellows by 2 or 3 times or more. So if you commit to giving $1,000 US per year, you will also become a member of the Paul Harris Society. So a total donation of $1,000 US, you'll be recognized as a Paul Harris Fellow. But if you commit to giving $1,000 US per year, you will then be a member of the Paul Harris Society. There's the next slide. So Rotary Direct is a simple way to give your gift. It could be through monthly deductions from your bank account or credit card, whatever you wish. Or it could be quarterly deductions. It's whatever you decide. Here's a society. So if you leave a legacy to Rotary Foundation through your estate, you'll be recognized through the Bequest Society. Next slide. Sorry. So the easiest way to learn more about giving to our Rotary Foundation is to visit rotary.org and then click on donate. Next slide, Tammy. So, Foundation Committee. My purpose, or our purpose of the committee, is to share information about and promote the foundation among club members. Our committee will encourage members to participate in foundation activities, and we will attempt to increase the annual donation amount from our club member. And the member so far is I'm the chair. So next slide, Tammy. So the objectives, or the foundation committee's objectives, is encourage every club member to donate to the foundation. In other words, every Rotarian every year. Try to organize a Paul Harris Fellowship recognition event. Plan and execute the promotion of Foundation Month, and we've been doing that. And organize an annual Polio Plus event. And I think we just finished one, I think in October. Next slide. November is Foundation Month, and if you can, this is a good time to make a contribution, to contribute monthly or quarterly or annually. We just finished a Polio Plus event, and we will try to have organize a Paul Harris Fellowship event when necessary. Next slide. So I'm at the end, and Tammy, this is a video, and it's just anyway, Tammy, can you just play the video for everyone? The volume. So that is my presentation for the Rotary Foundation for the month of November. And if you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them, but if I don't know the answer, I'll find out for you. There's probably a bit of time we were missing in that video, but.
Excellent. I like
Okay, yeah, it's
I
a great
that
video.
last little video. Actually, it was very profound without any speaking or music. I
Yeah.
thought it was very, very profound just to play it like that. It was great.
I'm gonna call on Jim.
Okay, thanks, Tammy. And thank you, Neil, for your presentation and your commitment to our E-Club as the foundation chair. As Neil mentioned, the mission of the foundation is to enable Rotarians to advance world understanding, goodwill, and peace through the improvement of health, the support of education, and the alleviation of poverty. Since the realization of his initial dream by Rotary International's sixth president, Arch C. Clumph, in 1917, the Rotary Foundation has spent more than $4 billion on life-changing sustainable projects. It's a very unique situation and really the basis for all the good that we do in the world as Rotarians. The money that we donate to the foundation eventually comes back to the world districts and the Rotary clubs in those districts, either through district designated funds or to be used as global grants. Our district clubs can partner up with other clubs in the world using global grants to make the world a better place. For instance, our club, the Rotary E-Club of Canada 1, was able to spearhead a $100,000 US water pipeline project in Sabarana, Honduras, starting with an initial club donation of only $8,000 Canadian. We partnered up with other Rotary clubs and the Rotary Foundation to build a new water pipeline and also a state-of-the-art water treatment plant with local training on how to upkeep the system to make the community's water supply safe and disease-free for years to come. Throughout our district, when talking to clubs about their projects, you'll hear many more stories on how the Rotary Foundation has made people's lives so much better. Support for the Rotary Foundation is key so that we can continue our projects in the world. Thanks again, Neil, and over to you, Sharon.
Thanks again, Neil. And thank you for agreeing to volunteer. Appreciate that. So we're going to move on to a very exciting part of another exciting part of our presentation today. Youth has always been foremost in my mind with regard to Rotary and what we do. And we were so pleased to have a number of Rotary students live with us and host them. And one of the ones that has been probably the most dear to us has been Elissa, and we call her Lee. And you can see my husband Phil has joined us here. And oops, the phone just rang, so I'm going to whip off to get that, but he's going to join us as well. So Lee was a youth exchange here in Chilliwack in 2004 and 5. And she was one of the few students that we had in the Chilliwack area that actually graduated from our high school system. And she got what's called the Dogwood, the BC Dogwood. And she went home and she was able to use that to pursue her further education. She graduated with honors, and she was a star on our school basketball team that year. And very active in the school, very active, one of our most active students that we ever had in our home. And we had probably over a dozen students in our home over the years. She's now a lawyer with a master's degree, and she has her own firm now in Sao Paulo, Brazil. And in 2011-12, we traveled to Brazil to celebrate Lee's graduation as a lawyer. And we were spoiled rotten by her family. And her mother traveled with us around Brazil. And we, even with no language, no English, her and I got along great. I think mothers around the world, they can communicate, doesn't matter what the language is. And we were able to communicate, and we had a great time with them. And we even went into the Amazon with them. So Lee's been back here once to visit us as well. So we've really kept the connection quite strong between the two families, and so pleased when she decided to come on board SECCO. So without further ado, I'm going to let Lee update us as to where she's at with her life now and how she got there.
Thank you, Sharon. I got really emotional with this introduction. So, and I'm really happy that Phil is here. So thank you. Sorry. So when I was invited to come to this assembly, I got myself thinking how Rotary changed my life. And after thinking and reflecting about it for a long time, I realized that Rotary changed my life more than I thought it changed in several ways. And now I'm gonna try to tell you a little bit of it. I know I have only 20 minutes, and I'll try to show you a little bit of my life since I was exchange student until now. And I think that I'm who I am today because of Rotary and what I experienced during my exchange program. So my presentation is not as professional as Neil's presentation, so I'm sorry for that. It's basically pictures from my life, so I hope you guys enjoy. Sure. Can you see my presentation? Yes? Okay, great. So these are, I had to go to my parents' house to find these pictures because they were printed and I didn't have any like digital file. So this was me and my exchange student year 2004-2005. I was in District 5050 in BC, in Chilliwack. Sharon and Phil were my second host family, and it was a joy. The thing I thought a lot before going to Canada is that because I'm from Brazil and we have a lot of social problems, we had a lot of projects here, and I was wondering, what am I gonna do in Canada? Because Canada is a rich country. I bet they don't have any problems. I don't know what they're gonna deal with. And I was really surprised when I arrived in Chilliwack because I saw that the clubs there were very involved with the community, and there was a lot to do. Even though you're a developed country, And these are some of the projects I participated. The book sale project, I thought was amazing. We would go during weekends there to the place to select the books and organize everything, and it was an amazing project. I participated in Red Nose Operation with Sharon. I don't know if it's a Rotary project, but even though it was a very nice project and it was like amazing for me, very good idea. It was very nice for me to remember that. And I participated on many other projects like Meals on Wheels. It was a pleasure to work with that. We would deliver food in people's house. Sharon can explain the project better later. And I met incredible people there. All the exchange students that were there with me during that year. And this girl here is Mariana. She was one of my best friends there during my exchange year, and she's from Ukraine. And now she's having a very hard time there with the war. She had to leave the country, and we still keep in touch until nowadays. And it's very funny how we live life and we don't know what's gonna happen to us, right? So I'm glad we had a very good time there. We had a lot of fun. And okay, that's it. Also, I put this picture of these people here who were very important for me during my exchange program. They're not here with us anymore. This is Ron Goldfinch, who was one of my first host father. And this is him cutting a turkey. It was my first Thanksgiving experience. We don't have Thanksgiving here in Brazil. And those are my counselors, Ted and Margaret Matais. Ted's no longer here with us, neither Ron. This is me playing volleyball in school. I still play volleyball. By the way, I just broke 2 ligaments of my left knee last week, so I'm waiting for surgery. I think I'm still 17 to play the way I play, and I got injured now, but that's okay. I'll get my surgery and soon I'll be back on court. And then after my exchange program, I came back home. I finished high school. I went to university. I chose to study law school. And Sharon and Phil went to my graduation party. It was a memorable moment for me. I was really, really happy. And then I traveled a lot. I became a lawyer. I worked like 10, 12 hours a day. I had a crazy life, and all the money I had, I would spend traveling. And I did also a post-graduation specialization in corporate law in France. So I enjoyed a lot to travel and travel and travel. But at some point when I was around 26, 27 years old, I started questioning my life, because since I had arrived from Canada, from my exchange student, I just focused on what life was expecting from me. Going to university, working. And I didn't do any other social project. I wasn't involved in my community. And that was making me very sad. I actually started in a depressive time of my life. I started doing therapy, and I wanted to connect with myself again. And that's when I remembered about Rotary and all the projects I made. And just a parenthesis here, my parents were also Rotarians here in Brazil. So I've been involved with social projects and involved in the community since I was a kid. And I was very distant from this reality. After I graduated, I just working. And then with the therapy process, I decided to look back and try to do something for my community again. That was in 2015. And what we had in São Paulo, the city where I live now, is that we were receiving a lot of refugees and immigrants, especially from Syria and from Haiti. And then I decided to go after some NGOs that worked with them. And I started doing that. I was the vice president of NGO in São Paulo. We used to provide them Portuguese classes, because they would arrive here in Brazil and my country didn't help them very much. So the civil society had to provide them with everything. So then we would give them meals. We would help them with legal issues. We would give them Portuguese classes. And that was amazing. I met a lot of immigrants and refugees. They have like wonderful histories. This one here is Abdul. He's from Syria. And that was the day when he got his ID, his Brazilian ID. Now he's a Brazilian citizenship. And he was very, very happy with that. So we took a picture. This is Salsabil. This is she comes from Syria also. And she started her own business, like cooking business. And she's very famous here now in Brazil. She goes to events and promote parties. She's a very good friend of mine. This is Salim. He used to do a project with me, is that we would go to school, kindergarten, and primary school, elementary school, to talk with the kids about immigrants. Because what we see here in Brazil and probably in the whole world is that there's a lot of discrimination, a lot of racism, a lot of xenophobia. And we think that when you teach a kid to accept everybody in their differences, they won't be racist, they won't be xenophobic and all of that. So we would go to school and talk about immigrants, refugees, explain to them why those people are here in Brazil. And it's very nice. It was a very nice project. This beside me is Basim, is another guy from Syria. He just opened his restaurant. He does a very good culinary Arab food. And then I started participating on seminars, on workshops, only talking about immigrants, how we should receive them here in Brazil, how we could make the legislation, and that was my word for a time. Also, I was working as a lawyer in the law firm, like getting my money. And besides that, I was doing this volunteer work with refugees and immigrants. And then I decided to do a master's degree related to, I studied like how Brazil receives immigrants and refugees, and which are the public policies that Brazil has for immigrants and refugees. And then I interviewed 14 refugees and heard their histories and asked them, what do you think about Brazil? What do you think we should we should change? And here the master, for getting your master's degree, you have to present an article, and then you have a section where the teachers make you a lot of questions, and then you have to defend and stand up for your essay. And then all of the refugees that I interviewed were there with me to support me, and it was very nice. One of the most amazing time in my life was the day where I presented my master. We had a very hard time during pandemic, COVID, because immigrants here in a very vulnerable situation. They were having problems with work or finding food and all several issues they had. So the NGOs that we knew got together, and we started like delivering food for them during pandemic. So we would go to the neighborhoods where they live and distribute these boxes here. You can see there's like full of food. I would ask for my friends to the community who could donate anything, and then we would go there to deliver them. And my parents were very worried about me, because this time here was when the pandemic was very bad in Brazil. Many people were dying, and we would like face the risks and would go there and give them food, because we know they were in a very bad condition. These are some projects we made. At Christmas time, we buy gifts for the kids and clothing for them. We make events. And after all of these years, from 2015 until now, I was helping the community with immigrants and refugees. And 2020, after the beginning of pandemic, Sharon sent me an email and said, Elissa, we have a new project. Do you want to join us? We are thinking about founding a Rotary Club, a satellite with young professionals. Would like to join us? And I said, yes, of course. So we got together, and on February 2021, we chartered our club. Now we are 9 members. We are from all over the world. We have Laura here, that's from Germany. She's here to support me. Thanks, Laura, for being here. and it's been an amazing experience. We already supported 3 projects now. First one was Project Amigo, that's coordinated by Ellie, who is also here. So we visit a project in Mexico, in Suchitlan, and we were able to donate some materials for their study center there. So we donated computers and like study materials, chairs, and many equipment. And we delivered there when we were there. It was very nice. It was very nice experience. Thanks to Ali and Ramiro. You're always also here. Thank you very much. This year, we also supported the Empowerment Program. It's a program coordinated by Nigeria for a club from Nigeria. One of our members, Jubril, he's from Nigeria and he has connections with this club. So we donated some amount so then they could buy some equipment to people in the community to work. So this was the event where we could deliver the equipment to them. Jubril, our member, was there to make the delivery. And that's my life. I'm still helping. I'm still doing social projects, but I'm still a lawyer. This is my partner. We founded our law office. It's been 5 years now. I'm very proud of myself because it's a lawyer made of women. And it's very difficult to see that here, especially in São Paulo. All of the founders of law firms here in Brazil, they're majority, they're men. So we face a lot of difficulties during our working, but it's worth it. And I still play volleyball, but this is my lawyers volleyball team. So we get together and play in the weekends. And these are my pets. That's my life. That's basically my life. And I just want to tell you that Rotary planted a seed on me, the seed of solidarity, of the seed of self-service above self. And that's what I take to my life until I die. And I saw what happened to me when I forgot this. I got depressive. My life didn't make sense anymore for me. So I know I have to stay on this path until when I can. So, and you guys are inspiration to me. I'm really happy to be here today to show you a little bit of my life. And thank you very much for the invitation and to be part of it. That's it.
Awesome presentation, Elissa.
Well done, Elissa.
That's great.
Does anybody have any questions of Elissa? I'm used to calling her Lee.
Yeah.
No questions?
Alyssa, I just have a question. Your partner, is she a Rotarian as well?
I'll try to make her become Rotarian. She isn't, just me, just myself.
So, Lee, what type of law do you practice?
Corporate law.
Corporate?
Companies, yes, partners fighting against each other, and contracts, also corporate contracts. Yes, that's what I do here.
I have to share a story of her and Mariana. So she mentioned Mariana's in Ukraine right now with her 2 children. Her husband is still in Ukraine fighting. But when they were here, we had some snow, which is getting more and more common in Chilliwack. But back then in 2005, we didn't have much snow during those winters, but we did have a snowfall, and there's the 2 of them outside with hardly any clothing on because they hadn't experienced a lot of snow, and they're having a big snowball fight and chasing each other around the house and just having a wonderful time. So it was really fun for me to hear that she met up with Mariana when she was in Paris, right?
I saw her twice already in Italy. She used to live in Rome, so I visited her twice.
Twice, yeah. So,
and in Canada was the first time I saw snow in my life. I've never seen snow before, so it was very memorable.
We'll send you some. We have lots.
I'll send you some of the hot weather here
Yeah.
also. Because it's too hot.
Yes.
Any other questions or comments for Lee? Well,
I have a question.
yes.
Yeah, so Elissa, thanks a lot for the presentation. I mean, I'm lucky enough to know you a bit better and spend some more time with you, even though it's virtually. But now that I heard your presentation, I was wondering, how do you manage like a work-life balance? Because I imagine that having your own law firm, your engagement with SECCO, the community projects that you're involved in, how do you manage like to have a work-life balance?
I don't manage. Actually, my life's kind of crazy, and many people told me that I just broke my 2 ligaments from my knee just to make me settle down a little bit and stay
Yeah.
at home. The people think that life is making that to me too. Actually, as you could see in the pictures, I'm very anxious. I bite my nails, and I'm showing you guys here all my life. And when I was doing my master's degree, and it was right on the time I was starting my law firm and also working the NGO as vice president, I put on 20 kilos because I was very stressed. I was very anxious. I would eat a lot. So that helped me with therapy, and I had to make some priorities in my life, but I still do a lot of things. But yes, I'm always doing something, always. I like that, but I know that at some point will be bad for my health. So I'm learning. I'm trying to.
Well, I need to tell you, when Lee was here in Chilliwack, she didn't say no to anything. When we asked her to get involved in anything, she was there. She was one of our most active students that our club ever had. And we usually had 2 students in our club every year, sometimes 3. And she's just a firecracker. She just went, and she hasn't changed, obviously. But I think playing volleyball is probably a way to let off some of your steam and what do you think?
That's why I'm really upset, because the doctor told me it will take me 6 months to go back playing.
Ooh.
And that was very hard on me, actually. So I'm trying to recover from that. So yes, you're right.
Yeah. Well, having any more questions for Lee? No? Well,
Just say hi.
yeah. Oh, just a second.
Hi Lee, it's Phil here. I just wonderful to see you, and you're doing wonderful things, and I don't know, so great to see you. Hopefully we can see you one more time. Cheers.
Many more times, Phil. Thank you for joining us today. It was very nice for me. And I put a picture of you in my presentation, and I didn't know if you were coming or not. So I just put it there. Thank you very much to be here. Very nice to see you.
Okay, ciao.
Ciao.
Well, I just want to thank Lee for taking time out of her busy life to join us. Having met her mother, I understand where Elissa gets her energy, because her mom just goes too. And her mom is quite a talented artist and craft person as well, and loves to travel. So it was, she's been a joy to know in our life, and her whole family as well. So Elissa, we definitely will be together again at some point, face to face and not by Zoom. And I want to thank you very much for coming and also highlighting SECCO, because Ellie put in hours and hours and hours of time in getting this satellite club going and supporting all the members. And hopefully we're still continuing to support you in a good way. So we're very proud of all of that satellite club for sure. And all, it's the next generation of Rotarians for sure. So thank you, Lee, for coming out and joining us today.
Thank you.
Hi.
So
Great. Irene had, did you have a question, Ellie?
Yes, yes, a question and a comment.
Yes.
For those of you who are not aware yet, Ramiro and I will be going to Brazil in December.
Oh.
We're gonna visit Fabiana and we're gonna visit Elissa, and we have a few other friends and a former youth exchange student that used to be in our place. We also hosted lots of students over the years. He's trying to make an effort to come and meet up with us as well. So we're really looking forward to that. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So don't have your surgery when we're there, please.
Don't worry. I'm thinking about all of that. Don't worry.
Okay, good.
You're in
And
my
I have just
mind,
as much
all right?
energy as your mom, so I think we'll be in good hands.
Don't worry. You will have all of my energy when you come. Don't worry.
Just get ready to run around Brazil.
Did Irene have?
Yes, Irene wanted to make a comment about the funding formula for the grants.
Yes, I've been, I think everybody knows that I work a lot at the district level, and I have to apologize dearly for not having time for club work. But a couple of weeks ago, I put in 39 hours in 1 week trying to get all the financial straight. So we are now at the point now where we know how much we have at global grants. We know how much we have at district grants. And I will only speak on the global grant part. The funding model is still one-to-one. So if up to $10,000, so that's whether our district starts a project or whether our district contributes to somebody else's project. And I just sent out an email to all the foundation chairs and I believe international chairs, which I know our club doesn't have, encouraging people to apply for global grants. As this club knows, it's a huge commitment. It's a huge commitment financially. It's a huge human resource commitment. There's a lot of responsibilities that accrue in both, even if you start your own grant in this district or if you apply money to somebody else's grant. We have found out in the last year that all the overdue reports accrue back to our district. So it's been a great journey, but very, very busy journey. And so from a global grant perspective, if it's a $10,000 at a shot, which is the maximum, we have room for about 6 new global grants this year. And so I'm hoping that Neil will share the email that I sent to him. And basically, we're trying to encourage people to be creative. Certainly, we're trying to encourage people to apply for grants from our district versus just applying money to somebody else's. Both are good. It's more creative if you can generate the grants or the application in our district. And it's late in the year already. It's already November. So anybody that has questions on how to start a global grant, the challenges, the responsibilities, and I've recommended in that particular email that everybody can go and take the grant management seminar on My Rotary. You don't have to be applying for a grant. It just gives you ideas. So that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else have comments, or I'll stop the recording? Oh, Vicky, yes, go ahead. Please introduce your guests.
Thank you. I'm sorry I wasn't here to introduce them. We got our wires crossed about where we were meeting.
That's
but
okay.
we finally all caught up. So first, I'd like to introduce Gary Smith. He's a Rotarian who now lives in Florida. He too has had Rotary Exchange students living with him and his family when his children were younger. And he's a great supporter of our organization. So I'm glad to have him here. And we also have Bruce Benson, a Canadian from Manitoba who fishes for a living, but he's also an author. And his claim to fame is he goes to other countries to pick up litter, and he's written books about them. So he's come here to Guatemala to pick up litter with our Rotary interactors. And they're going to do their first stint tomorrow. And then we have Jerry Belgian from Ladysmith Rotary Club. And he's very involved in an educational program called RECCO, and it provides a device with all the Guatemalan government curriculum and a whole bunch of other internet support things on a device to be put in learning centers that don't have access to internet. And so he has helped us get that device and also put it in our primary school, our local primary school.
Nice. That's awesome. Well, welcome. We're happy to have the three of you with us today.
Welcome, everybody.
Exactly.
Yeah, welcome. This has been a great turnout.
Yes.
Lee?
Great to-
I'm sorry, I just want to make a comment on Neil's presentation. We have a very big campaign here for polio on 80s and 90s, because we had a lot of cases of kids with polio here in the 80s. And it was very good until now. And then the mothers stopped vaccinating their kids. And now we got our first polio case again since 1989. So we
Wow.
were for more than 20 years without having polio, and now it came back. So what Neil said, it's correct. We can't rest. We have to always keep fighting polio, because it's very sad, and it can come back at any time. So the Rotary Foundation does a very nice job with that. So thank you, Neil.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to say also that a few of our members took my challenge up about the Polio Society. And we have a few members who received their Polio Society certificates from the district. So thank you very much for those members that did participate and contribute towards the polio fight. Appreciate that.
I can also add that I've received a donation from a member for Polio Plus, and by the end of the year, I'm going to work with David to make sure it gets donated to Polio Plus. David does the transfers for Rotary because it's not necessarily that easy to do it in the way that we do it, but there will be another $100 by the end of the year on a donation from the club for Polio Plus because of the donation directly from the member to us.
Right. I'm going to stop the recording then if people want to fellowship for a few minutes.